Whenever you're starting, do you feel like you need to accomplish everything all at once? Hi, my name is Sam, and this is Super Awesome You Brave Enough Today. A podcast for anyone who's ever stood in their own way, second guessed their dreams, or let fear make them smaller than they really are. Each week, we'll talk about building confidence, showing up scared, and taking one small step towards a life you actually want. You don't have to be fearless, just brave enough today. If you are enjoying the show, please take a moment to give it a 5-star review on the player that you're listening to. Spotify and Apple Podcasts both allow you to give ratings and reviews, and it is really appreciated to receive them. If you are watching on YouTube, be sure to also give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more episodes. And finally, if you are really enjoying it and you can think of other people in your life that would like it too, please be sure to share it with them. I ask all of that because I am in the process myself of building out, my dreams and pursuing what I really want to do one day, which is to go full time with this project and to help people just like you and also help myself along the way. Think I've said this at least a couple times on the show before, but I don't have all the answers. I don't think anyone in this world has all the answers. If you ever hear someone tell you that they know everything and they have all the answers, I would just run the other direction because you'll probably be misled down some corridor full of regret later in life. I think the whole joy of this life and the whole joy of working towards something that you care about is that you don't know all the answers and that you are likely full of doubt and full of fear, but that you do it anyway. I obviously talk a lot about marathon running, like to death. I'm so sorry, although I will keep doing it. But it really was just like the perfect metaphor for everything in my life. When I first wanted to run, there was no way I could have run. And I was full of doubt and full of fear and just never even imagined being able to run that amount of miles, honestly. And I remember the very first time that I crossed the 13.1 mile mark and was now at 14 or 15 miles, for the very first long run that went past that half marathon mark. It stuck with me to this day. I started to laugh. I looked at my watch, I saw that tick into the 14-mile range, and I literally got giddy and started to laugh because I couldn't believe that I was actively doing it. At that point, it had been well over a year since I'd set my goal. I was less than 16 weeks away from actually running my first marathon. And I just thought, this is amazing. Like, this is what it's all about. I had so much doubt and fear leading up to this moment. And here I am. I did it. I crossed this like mental barrier that I had. And now, and I don't mean this as a brag, genuinely, I can run a half marathon like randomly on a weekend, if I really needed to. Would it be pretty? No. Would I get a PR? Absolutely not. But I have it in me to be able to kind of show up, run it, and finish the mileage. So something that used to be such a huge barrier in my life now just feels really accessible and easy. And I'm certain that you have examples like this in your own life. Whenever you're starting a new job, those first day jitters are real, right? Like you have no idea what you're doing. People are training you. It's overwhelming. You say, oh, I'm drinking from a fire hose because there's just so much new information, so many new people to meet, so many processes to understand. And sure, you might have been trained and you might have done this job a couple times before, but it's a whole new environment, a whole new set of people, a whole new set of rules. And by the time you're there a year, 2 years, 3 years, however long you last at this job, if you're there 3 years, congratulations, because that's longer than I spend at most jobs because I get really annoyed with them. Um, by the time you're there, I mean, those things that you were doing on day one that kind of stopped you up, like you're just knocking them out. Like you don't even think about them. They've truly become muscle memory. I think this is the magic of pursuing something new. It can be really easy to psych yourself out in those early days and to think that I'm not capable of this and I don't know what I'm doing and how am I ever going to get this done? And then you just keep doing it anyway. And you show yourself that, like, oh, I did this a little bit better this time. I did this a little bit better this time. And then eventually you don't even notice that you're doing it anymore. And I think it's important to have those moments where you kind of check in with yourself, look back for a little bit, and realize just how far you've come. I try to do this more often. I have a really bad habit of completing a big goal or getting a big achievement and then immediately looking to the next one. I think it's really critical that we take a moment and appreciate achievements because you will A, drain yourself of all your joy if all you're constantly doing is moving the goal line further and further away. And B, you won't, truly appreciate the beauty of being able to do the thing that you just did and how much effort you put in, and see that will guide you towards your next goal because you will no doubt have plenty of doubt towards the new goal line that you set. And there will be moments where you think, I can't do this. How on earth am I supposed to do this? And you realize, right, I've done this version, maybe not this exact path, maybe not this exact goal, but I have done a version of this before and I found a way there. I have recently leaned a lot on the marathon in my own life of something as proof of signing up for something that I thought was impossible. And then here I'm on the other side of it and I've done it. And I thought that that was the only time in my life that I've ever actually done something that difficult. But then I took my own advice and I started thinking about, my life all the way up until this point. And I can name 2, 3, 4 other times where I woke up one day, I just had a goal. All of a sudden, there was like this moment of inspiration, if you will. I set a goal, I set out to do it. And within weeks or months, whatever that timeline was, I reached it. And I put in a ton of effort to reach that point, right? It wasn't something that was just trivial and easy to do. It required a lot of work. One example I'll give you, again, not meaning to brag, but just want to give this context, was actually and I actually don't think this is a brag because there are people that do 4.0 GPAs every single semester in college and literally graduate top of their class. But I had never really given my all in college. I just kind of like, I worked at it for sure. And I showed up to classes when they were convenient to show up to. And I got a mix of A's and B's and every now and then actually just one C, which I'm still kind of salty about. But I worked at it, but nothing really like dedicated. I never felt like I just sat down and really gave it my all. And I literally had one semester left before I graduated. It was some of the toughest classes I took. I have a degree in neurobiology. So this was a really advanced lab class. It was biochemistry too. There was a couple of other classes that, again, were very, very tail end of the degree. And I told myself, I really want to graduate with at least one semester where I get an A in every single class. And I worked my butt off. I mean, I took notes in every single class. I went to every single class, that alone was an achievement for me. And I would transcribe my notes over and over because I learned through my 4 years there that if I wrote my notes, like literally hand wrote my notes over and over again, it just cemented that knowledge in my brain. Like that was how I learned best, was by writing, which is why I still journal and do a lot of exploration that way. And I got it. I got the 4.0, right? I literally got an A in every single class. And these, like I told you, these classes were not easy. It was very challenging at times. And I spent hours in the library and at home, going over my notes and studying. I'm so proud of myself still to date. And I never would have remembered that had I not done this exercise of thinking back at other times in my life when I can identify that I wanted to do a hard thing and I did the hard thing. I mention all of this to you today on this Tuesday in hopes that you take a moment in your next week and reflect back on your life and find areas and points in your life and timelines and achievements where you set a goal that you didn't think you were going to be able to do, or you set a goal that felt slightly out of reach, and you worked and worked and worked and you hit it. And even if you didn't hit the goal exactly how you planned, you should absolutely celebrate that you worked towards it. I didn't hit the time goal that I wanted when I ran the marathon. I wasn't anywhere close to the time goal that I wanted, but I'm still so proud of myself that I found a way to the finish line against all the odds and against all the struggles that I had with injuries. So don't be hard on yourself. This is not an exercise in tearing yourself apart or feeling like a failure. It's quite the opposite. I want you to take a couple of minutes, journal out, times in my life when I set a goal and I either hit that goal, exceeded it, or got really freaking close to it. And I'm so proud of the work that I did towards it. That memory will empower you when you are faced with your next goal or faced with your current goal or whatever it is that you are setting out to achieve. It will make you realize that you've got that strength in you already. It can be so easy to walk around feeling like I'm not strong enough, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, but you've done it. You've done it before. I guarantee you've done it before. There is something in your life that you are overlooking, and maybe you can ask a friend or family member to help you with this exploration, or a therapist if you have one, or a coach if you have one, whoever that may be if it's not you. And I guarantee you can find something that you have put in work towards and achieved that someone else wishes that they could do today. And I think that's another little, bonus point here is it's really easy to ignore our own achievements because, we've done them, they're in the past and we moved on. But again guarantee you there are people out there that wish they could do what you have done and wish they could do what you don't even count towards yourself as doing, right? You just discount it and it doesn't even mean anything to you, and it might mean the world to them. So I think it's really important to pause, reflect, journal out for 5-10 minutes, find something in your life that you've done before that you're really proud of, and wear that as a badge this week and hopefully in the weeks ahead. So, this is again a reminder on Super Awesome You to keep going, stay kind, and be brave enough today.